हिरण्मयेन पात्रेण सत्यस्यापि हितं मुखं तत्त्वं पूषणपावृणु सत्यधर्माय दृष्टये. I welcome everybody to the Swadhyaya Jnanayajna program by Academy of Yoga and Oriental Studies, Bhubaneswar. Today we will discuss about Patanjali, the Doyen of Yoga. I am Indulata Das, Director, IOS. First of all, let us see the derivation of the word Patanjali. The word Patanjali may be derived in two ways. Number one, apatat anjalyang jahasaha Patanjalihi. That means he who fell down on the palm. It is believed that when Patanjali was a very small child, he was given on the palm of his guru Pratyahara for teaching. Therefore, he is known as Patanjali. This is about the writer of Mahabhasya. Then the second derivation of the name Patanjali, Anjalayaha Namaschataya Apatan Yasmi. He to whom obeisance was paid by folded hands. So this is Patanjali. This is not for any specific Patanjali. This is Patanjali, he who is revered by others, who is respected by others. Now Patanjali, who he is? Patanjali is a famous name in Indian tradition of knowledge. Yes, he is a very famous name in Indian tradition of knowledge. How many Patanjalis were there? There is proof that there were 5 or more numbers of Patanjalis, famous Patanjalis. These are famous Patanjalis. Otherwise, Patanjali is a name. But in the tradition of knowledge, we find 5 or more than 5 Patanjalis, or let us say 7 Patanjalis. Professor Kedarnath Tripathi writes about 5 Patanjalis. Professor Udayveer Shastri writes about 7 Patanjalis. Now, who are these Patanjalis? Number 1 is author of Yogasutra. Number 2 is author of Mahabhasya. Number 3 is writer of Nidana Sutra. Number 4 is writer of Paramarthasara. Number 5 is the scholar of Sankhya. Number 6 is Patanjali related to Ayurveda, identified with Charaka. Number 7 is writer of Kosa Grantha. This is written in the book Sankhya Darshan Ka Itihas by Professor Udayveer Shastri. Now today we'll focus on Patanjali, the author of Yoga. Patanjali, who is the author of Yogasutra, is the philosophical and spiritual doyen. He has written the famous book Yogasutra. He is revered as the incarnation of Sesanaga. He is very reticent about his own identity in Yogasutra. In Yogasutra, he has not written anything about himself. As such, Yogasutra is a sutra book, and there is no scope for writing anything in detail. Therefore, we don't find anything about Patanjali in Yogasutra. Now, there is a strong tradition about Patanjali. Authors of Yogasutra, Mahabhasya and Charaka Samhita are one and the same person. It is a strong tradition. Let us see whether this tradition can be true or not. There is a popular sloka about Patanjali. Yogena chittasya padena vachang malang sarirasya cha vaidyakena yopa karotang prabhang muninang Patanjaling pranjalirana tosmi. I bow down to Patanjali, who removed impurity from the mind, speech and body by yoga, grammar and medicine. The writer of the sloka is not known. Here, all the 3 Patanjalis are said to be one. Here it is said that I bow down to that Patanjali who removed the impurity from the mind, impurity from the speech and impurity from the body by yoga, grammar and medicine. Now Chakrapani, the commentator of Charaka Samhita, he has also written something like this. He writes, Patanjali Mahabhasya Charaka Prati Sanskrutehi Manobhakkaya Doshanang Hantrehi Pataya Namaha. This is in Ayurveda Dipika Tika. The meaning of the sloka is, I bow down to the serpent king who destroyed the impurities of mind, speech and body by the Patanjali. Here he writes Patanjali. In the earlier sloka, there was nothing, no mention of Patanjali or Patanjali Yoga Sutra. Here only Patanjali is written and no mention of Yoga Sutra. So it is written here that I bow down to the serpent king who destroyed the impurities of mind, speech and body by the Patanjali, only Patanjali, not Patanjali Yoga Sutra. Patanjali means something related to Patanjali. By Patanjali, then Mahabhasya and then Charaka Samhita. So here we find the word Patanjali, but not Patanjali Yoga Sutra. In earlier sloka, there is no mention of Yoga Sutra also. Then Bhartrihari, the writer of Bhakyapatyam, he writes, Kaya Bhak Buddhi Vishaya De Malaha Samavastitaha Chikitsa Lakshana Adhyatma Shastrais Tesang Visuddhayaha. That means the impurities related to body, speech and buddhi are purified by Chikitsa Shastra, Lakshana Shastra and Adhyatma Shastra. Here also there is no mention of Yoga Sutra. Then there is no strong proof to establish that the writer of Yoga Sutra, the writer of Mahabhasya and the writer of Charaka Samhita are one. Because it is to be noted that nowhere it is clearly mentioned that the writer of Yoga Sutra is the same person who wrote Mahabhasya and Charaka Samhita. Patanjali, the writer of Mahabhasya, might have done some work on yoga. Then no strong proof to establish the theory. Only the tradition and no strong proof. Then the three works were written in different centuries. Then Patanjali's personal life. Patanjali's personal, we get these informations about Patanjali's personal life. His father's name was Vijaya, mother's name was Gonika, his birthplace was Kashmir, his guru was Katyayana, the great grammarian. According to mentions found in Mahabhasya, etc., etc., in other places also. But Patanjali of Yoga Sutra may not have anything to do with it because these things are found in Mahabhasya and related books. But the Patanjali of Yoga Sutra may not have anything to do. This may be, all these things may be the informations about Patanjali, the writer of Mahabhasya. Now, time of Patanjali. It is a matter of great controversy. Many people place him in 2nd century BC, but all proofs forwarded for his time to be 2nd century BC are proofs for Patanjali of Mahabhasya, not for Patanjali of Yoga Sutra. So whatever proofs they forward, all these proofs hint towards Patanjali of Mahabhasya, not for Patanjali of Yoga Sutra. Now let us see. What are the proofs we find for the date of Yoga Sutra in various books. Not about Patanjali, but about Yoga Sutra. Number 1, yoga is refuted in Brahma Sutra. Etena yoga prayuktaha. Hereby, yoga is meant or refuted. Number 2, Brahma Sutra is mentioned in Mahabharata. So Brahma Sutra is prior to Brahma Sutra is mentioned in Mahabharata. Brahma Sutra Padeshchaiva Hetu Madhvirivinishchitaihi. In Mahabharata, detailed discussion on yoga is available. A number of adhyayas about Sankhya and Yoga Darshan we find. So, yoga is refuted in Brahma Sutra, and Brahma Sutra is mentioned in Mahabharata. That means Brahma Sutra is prior to Mahabharata. And in Mahabharata also we find a lot of discussion about Yoga Darshana and Sankhya Darshana. Number 4, Yoga Darshana has been clearly mentioned in Mahabharata. सांख्य योगो पृथक सांख्य योगो मया प्रोक्तो शास्त्र द्वय निदर्शनात् यदेव शास्त्रं सांख्योक्तं योग दर्शनमेव तत्. दिस इज शांति पर्व मुख्य धर्म पर्व. सांख्य योगो पृथक बालाः प्रवदन्ति न पंडिताः. दिस इज गीता 5:4. Now, therefore, both Sankhya and Yoga, as two schools of philosophy, were strongly established much before Mahabharata and much before Brahma Sutra also. Patanjali has to be much prior to Mahabharata because Yoga is prior to Brahma Sutra and Brahma Sutra is prior to Mahabharata. That means by the time of Mahabharata, Patanjali, the Yoga Sutra was not only, it was strongly established. It was a strongly established school of philosophy. Now let us see the time of Mahabharata. Time of Mahabharata is at least 5th century BC or 6th century BC. Baldev Upadhyaya, Padma Shri Baldev Upadhyaya writes in his book Sanskrit Sahitya Ka Itihas, page 61, that the date of Mahabharata is at least 5th century or 6th century BC. So prior to Mahabharata, Brahma Sutra was written, and prior to Brahma Sutra, Yoga Sutra was written. Therefore, time of Yoga Sutra must be at least 1000 BC or so, not later than that. Now we come to the great work Yoga Sutra, the basic book on yoga. Yoga Sutra is the basic book on yoga. It is written in sutra form. It has 4 chapters: Samadhi Pada, Sadhana Pada, Vibhuti Pada, and Kaivalya Pada. Samadhi Pada has 51 sutras, then Sadhana Pada has 55 sutras, then Vibhuti Pada has 55 sutras, then Kaivalya Pada has 34 sutras. Total is 195 sutras. Now let us discuss a little about sutras, because sutra is a very different kind of it is a unique feature of Sanskrit language. It is written in minimum possible letters. It may be a word, a phrase, or a short sentence. It is like a clue, a sutra, a thread. And the definition of sutra is like this: Alpakharam asandigdham saravad vishwatamukham astobham anabadhyam cha sutram sutra vido viduhu. Alpakhara, it has to be alpakhara. It should consist of very few letters. Asandigdha, there should be no scope for any doubt. Saravat, it should consist of essence or essential meaning. Then vishwatamukham literally means having a face every side. Suggestively, it is complete from every side. Then astobham. Stobham means obstruction or anything inserted. Therefore, astobham means astobham is that which is not obstructed in understanding, or that in which no insertion is done. Anabadhyam, it should not leave any scope for criticism. So, sutra literature is like this. So, sutras are very small sentences, or sutra may be a word, even a letter, or even a phrase, like this. Now let us come to the great commentaries on Yoga Sutra. Vyasa Bhasya, the first commentary on Yoga Sutra is Vyasa Bhasya, written by Vyasa about 3rd AD. Then there is Tattva Vaisharadi Tika of Vachaspati Misra. Then there is Yoga Vartika of Vijnana Bhikkhu. Then there is Bhaswati of Hariharananda Aranyaka. Then Patanjala Rahasya of Raghavananda. Then there is Rajamartanda Brutti of Bhojadeva. Then Sutrata Bodhini Tika by Narayana Tirtha. Then Yoga Siddhanta Chandrika by Narayana Tirtha. Pada Chandrika by Anantadeva. Yoga Sudhakara is Sadasivendra Saraswati. Like this, these are the most important, most famous, and most authentic tikas, commentaries on Yoga Sutra. And the most authentic among these is the Vyasa Bhasya, and all other commentaries have followed Vyasa Bhasya. Then Bhava Ganesha Vritti, Bhava Ganesha by Bhava Ganesha, then Mani Prabha, Ramananda Jyoti, then Nagesa Bhattiya Laghuvrutti by Nagesa Bhatta, then Nagesa Bhattiya Bruhad Yogasutra Vritti, Nagesa Bhatta, then Yogakarika Hariharananda Aranyaka. These are also very good commentaries on Yogasutra based on Vyasa Bhashya. Yogakarika is a Karika book. Karika means written in poetry form, and Yogakarika is based not only on the Yoga Sutra, but it is based on Vyasa Bhashya of Yoga Sutra. So these are the most important works done on Yoga Sutra and Vyasa Bhashya. Now let us come to the subject matter of Yoga Sutra. Yoga Sutra is nothing, but the subject matter of Yoga Sutra is nothing but the great research on mind and its functions. It is everything about the great research on mind. Patanjali has done the greatest research on mind and its functions. There are five planes of Chitta. Chitta here means the Antakarana, which includes the mind, Chitta Bhumi. There are five planes of Chitta. These are called Chitta Bhumis. Khipta, Mudha, Vikkhipta, Ekagra, and Niruddha. Khipta is abundance of Rajaguna. It is very fickle. Mudha is abundance of Tamaguna, great inertia. Then Vikkhipta is presence of a little Sattva-guna, fickle about sometimes, fickle but sometimes concentrated. Then Ekagra, concentrated or one-pointed. Niruddha, here Vrittis are arrested, restrained or arrested. Vrittis are the activities of the, now what are the Vrittis? Vrittis are the activities of the mind. In popular language, we call them thoughts of the mind. The thoughts of the mind are the Vrittis of the mind. Now the last, which is the Niruddha state, it is of two types. In the first type, there is only one Vritti, which is chosen by the it is chosen by the yogi, and in the second Niruddha state, the highest Niruddha state, there is no Vritti at all. It is Vrittiless. The Vrittiless state is called Manonasa, Manolaya, Unmani or Manonmani. Manonmani is the stage where there is no, almost there is no existence of mana. Yatra gatva tu manusa manastang naiva vidyate. It is a state where the mind almost loses its existence. It is a state of supreme bliss. It is free from all sorrows. Now, that is the human goal. Mana eva manushyanam karanam bandha mokhyaya. Mind is the cause of bondage, and mind is the cause of liberation. Mind is the cause of bondage, and it creates all the sorrows, and the same mind takes one to liberation where there is no sorrow, liberation from all kinds of sorrows. Human goal is to experience supreme bliss by taking the mind to the highest state. So this is the highest state which the yoga calls Samadhi or a yoga. Yoga, it is in other words known as yoga or Samadhi. Yoga means Samadhi, the state, the highest state of mind. Yoga is the highest state of mind or Samadhi. Therefore, Patanjali has defined yoga. What is the definition of yoga? The definition of yoga is yoga's chitta vritti nirodha. Yoga is the restraint of vrittis of the chitta. What happens when the vrittis of the chitta are totally restricted? It is the state of self-realization. One realizes his true and original form. Tada drashtuhu swarupe vasthanam. In the state of Samadhi, one remains in his original form. He goes back to his original form. And what in other states, when he is not in the yoga, when he is not in the Niruddha state, when he does not, he is unable to reach the Niruddha state, what What in the other states, one identifies himself with the vrittis of the chitta, vritti sarupya mitaratra. Like I am a male, I am a female, I am young, old or child, I am educated, uneducated, I am married, unmarried, I am happy, unhappy, like this. He identifies himself with the vrittis that come and go in the mind. Who can attain Samadhi? The goal. Samadhi or yoga is the goal. And who can attain this goal? Who can achieve this goal? It is available to all. Satu sarvabhaumastittasya dharma. Anybody who tries to attain it can attain it. It is universal nature of the chitta. Now what are the methods to take the mind to the final state or the final goal? It is abhyasa and vairagya, practice and detachment. Abhyasa vairagya bhang tannirodha. This is Yogasutra. The method is one but has two aspects in it. Abhyasa and vairagya have to be practiced simultaneously. Then what is abhyasa? Abhyasa is relentless effort to keep the mind vrittiless. Tatra sthito jatnobhyasah. This is Yogasutra. The technical name of keeping the mind in the state is sthiti. It is the calmness of mind. In this state, the mind is totally calm. There is no disturbance. There is no the entrance of vrittis in the mind. Avritti ki sthitis tasya santavastha jachetasah sadhananam anushtanam abhyaso virya purvakam. So one has to take the mind to the state of sthiti. To try again and again to take the mind to the state of sthiti is called abhyasa. Then vairagya is upward movement. Vairagya is detachment from the worldliness. Now, upward movement is not possible without leaving the lower level of existence. One cannot lead both a lower life as well as a higher life simultaneously. This is, in other words, known as Vairagya. To discard the lower life in order to reach the higher life, highest life is called Vairagya. Now, stages of Vairagya. There are two stages. One is Apara Vairagya, the lower detachment, and then Paravairagya. Paravairagya is the highest detachment. Then now we come to Apara Vairagya. Apara Vairagya is the lower detachment, lower Vairagya. It has four stages: Jatamana Vairagya, Vyatireka, Ekendriya, and Vasikara. The Jatamana Vairagya is beginning or the trial stage. Vyatireka Vairagya means it control over some Indriyas. And in Ekendriya Vairagya, the control over all Indriyas except one, that is mind. Then fourth is Vasikara Vairagya. Here detachment from all pleasures of the world and of the heaven. In Yogasutra, only we find the definition of the Vasikara Vairagya. Drushtanusravika Vishaya Vitrushan se Vasikara Sanya Vairagya. The other Vairagyas are named in the commentaries. Now, Paravairagya is Tatparang Purusa Khatir Gunam Vaitrishnam, detachment towards the Prakriti because of the knowledge of the Purusa. Here, the yogi gets the knowledge of the Purusa and therefore he is detached towards the Prakriti. Now, what is Purusa and what is Prakriti? Purusa is the consciousness and Prakriti is the body, the Indriyas, the Manas, the Ahankara and the Buddhi. All together, these things are known as Prakriti. How much time is required to reach the goal? It depends upon the intensity of practice. Yogis are divided into 9 types according to their intensity practice. First, they are divided into 3 types: Mrudu Sambhega, Madhya Sambhega, and Tibra Sambhega. And each type is divided into 3 types again: Mrudu, Madhya, and Adhimatra. Like this, 3 into 3, it becomes 9. There are 9 kinds of yogis. Then only along with Abhyasa and Vairagya, another factor which expedites the Abhyasa and Vairagya is Ishvara Pranidhana. That is divine help. Ishvara Pranidhana by contemplating on Ishvara. How to get the divine help? Repetition of his name and contemplating on him is the way to get the divine help. Tadjapastadattha bhavana. What is the particular word that has to be repeated? What is his name? What is the name of Ishvara? Omkara. Om is his name, expressing word. Tasya vachakah pranavaha. So one has to repeat the word Om and contemplate or concentrate on the qualities of Ishvara. This is Ishvara Pranidhana. And obstacles. Now we come to the obstacles on the way of ascending to the highest place. Obstacles are 9. Vyadhi, Sthana, Samsaya, Pramada, Alasya, Avirati, Bhranti Darshana, Labdha Bhumikatva. Vyadhi is disease, physical and mental disease. Sthana is mental lethargy, Samsaya is doubt, Pramada is carelessness, Alasya is heaviness of the mind and body. Then Avirati is not discarding the lower plane. Then Bhranti Darshana is finding fault. Then Alabdha Bhumikatva is not reaching the desired state. Then Anavasthitatva is unable to remain in the state for a long time. Vyadhi Sthana Samsaya Pramada Lasya Virati Bhranti Darshana Alabdha Bhumikatva Anavasthitattvani Chitta Vikhepas Te Antaraya. This is Yogasutra. Now there are 5 more obstacles. Dukkha, Dormanasya, Angamejatva, Swasa and Praswasa. Dukkha is misery. These are 3 kinds. Adibhautika, Adidaivika and Adhyatmika. Then Dormanasya is disturbed mind. Angamejatva means any movement in the body. Swasa is inhalation and Praswasa is exhalation. These are also 5 obstacles, auxiliary obstacles. Now, Ishvara Pranidhana is the best remedy to remove the obstacles. Now, there are also easier methods for Chitta Vritti Nirodha. These are 2 in number. Number 1 is Kriya Yoga. Number 2 is 8 steps of yoga or Astanga Yoga. Now, what is Kriya Yoga? Kriya Yoga has 3 aspects: Tapas, Swadhyaya and Ishvara Pranidhana. Tapas, Swadhyaya, Ishvara Pranidhana and Kriya Yoga. Tapa is austerity or penance. Swadhyaya is study of spiritual books and mantra chanting. Ishvara Pranidhana is contemplation on Ishvara. Now the 8 steps of Astanga Yoga. Now we come to the third method. The 8 steps of Astanga Yoga. The Astanga Yoga is divided into 2 groups, Bahiranga Sadhana and Antaranga Sadhana. First, Bahiranga Sadhana, it has 5 steps. It is external practice. Antaranga Sadhana is internal practice. It has 3 steps. Now first, the Bahiranga Sadhana. Number 1, Yama, then Niyama, Asana, Pranayama and Pratyahara. Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara. These are the Bahiranga Sadhanas. Yama means to stop the lower human instincts. Niyama means to culture positive human virtues. Asana means to train the body for an upward mental journey. It is a training of the body. Pranayama is to use the breath for the upward journey. Then Pratyahara means to train the sense organs not to disturb and cooperate with the mind. Then we come to Antaranga Sadhana, that is internal practice. The practices are exclusively mental. Number 1, to hold the mind on a particular point. This is called Dharana. Then second is to elongate one vritti in the mind, that is Dhyana. Number 3, to be one with the object of concentration to the extent of forgetting the existence of the mind. This is called Samadhi. Dharana, Dhyana and Samadhi are the 3 internal sadhanas, internal practices, internal sadhana, Antaranga Sadhana. The 8 steps in detail. Yama is to stop the lower human instincts. Jamas are 5 in number. Ahimsa, Satya, Asteya, Brahmacharya and Aparigraha. Ahimsa first is ahimsa, to stop the instinct of hurting others physically, verbally and mentally. Satya is to maintain oneness in thought, speech and action. Asteya is to stop accepting things from others which is not backed by moral sanctions. Then 4 is Brahmacharya, to control the instinct of sex. 5 is Aparigraha, to stop the tendency of accumulating things beyond requirement. These are the 5 Yamaha. Ahimsa, Satyasteya, Brahmacharya, Aparigraha, Yamaha. Then the second step is Niyama, culture of positive virtues. These are also 5 in number. Saucha, Santosha, Tapa, Swadhyaya, Ishvara, Pranidhana and Niyamaha. Saucha is cleanliness of body and mind. Santosha is to be contented or to be satisfied. Tapaha is to undergo every hardship on the way of attainment of the goal. Swadhyaya is to provide regular inspiration to the mind by reading spiritual literature. This will not allow the mind to forget the goal. Then Ishvara Pranidhana is seeking the divine help. Now come to the third step, that is Asana. Asanas are numerous. The definition of Asana is Sthira Sukham Asana. It is to make the body disease-free and to train the body to remain steady in one posture for the higher mental practices. Sthira Sukham Asanam, to remain comfortably in one posture. Then the fourth step is pranayama. Breath is closely related to mind. Chalebate chalang chittang nischale nischalang dhruvang. Yogi sthanuttam apnoti tato vayum nirodhat. If the air in the body moves, the mind moves along with it. When the air is stable, the mind is stabilized. The movement of the air has to be stopped in order to still the mind. Therefore, pranayama is necessary in order to control the mind. Now we come to the fifth step, that is Pratyahara. Pratyahara means withdrawal of the Indriyas. The definition is so Vishaya Samprajoge Chitta Sarupa Anukara Ivendriyanam Pratyahara. Non-connection of the Indriyas with respective objects and imitating the state of Chitta is Pratyahara. Then sixth step is Dharana. To hold the mind at a particular point is Dharana, Desavandhas Chittasya Dharana. The point may be somewhere outside the body or inside the body. Then seventh step is Dhyana. Tatra Pratyekatanata Dhyanam. Prolongation of one vritti in the Chitta is Dhyana. This is a higher stage of Dharana. Then we come to the eighth Anga, that is Samadhi. This is the lower Samadhi. This is the advanced stage of Dhyana. Samadhi is a stage where the mind almost forgets its own existence. Tadavartha matra nirbhasam swarupa sunyamiva samadhi. Samadhi, this is the Samadhi which is a step of the highest Samadhi. The three Antaranga Sadhanas together do wonders. The three Antaranga Sadhanas together are called Sanjama, Trayam Ekatra Sanjama. If used together, they do wonders. What can they do? The expansion. They expand the human capabilities. The mind of the yogi becomes extraordinarily strong. His physical and mental capabilities cross the normal human limitations. For example, he can become invisible, conquer thirst and hunger, fly in the sky, walk on the water, see things from any distance, etc., etc. Many siddhis have been enumerated in the third chapter of Yogasutra. Now, two types of samadhi, as I told. There is the eighth anga is the lower samadhi, and the highest samadhi is the angi. The lower samadhi is called sampragyanta. Here there is only one vritti, that is chosen by the yogi. Then there is asampragyata yoga. This is the highest samadhi. It is vrittiless state of the mind. Asampragyata samadhi results in liberation. The lower samadhi leads to the highest samadhi. The lower samadhi is the eighth anga. All the eight angas are steps of the highest samadhi, the angi. Now, liberation from what? Liberation from all kinds of sorrows, liberation from the bondage of the body, liberation from the cycle of birth and death. Then there is experience of absolute freedom, absolute bliss. For how long? For all time to come. Yogasutra is a great analysis of human mind, its functions and capabilities. All the unknown mysteries of the mind are unfolded by Patanjali. It is a journey from the lowest to the highest. Yoga is a journey from the lowest to the highest. Let us pay our obeisance at the feet of great Maharshi Patanjali. Patanjali Maharshi, Namastasme, Namo Namah, Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Thank you.